What is up, my Gaggle of Geeks, and welcome to tonight's episode where we're going to be talking about a bevy of things. It's it's Friday, everybody, and we are kind of recovering. I'm sure everybody is kind of watching everything that's happening, the news that's going on, and it's a time where maybe we can talk about the things we hate and also the things that we love. And I have some very special guests to be able to do that with me. First, he is my co-host, and you can catch him on Over and Under Artists Exposed podcasts on iTunes. Check him out there. Chaz, how's it going, man?
It's Friday.
It's so
Rebecca
weird.
Black style.
It's so weird to even sing it. Is
it next year yet?
It feels like it. It really does. But it's not going to feel like it tonight because we got some people that have great insights and that I have already had on the show, so you already know these people. First off, he is premiering his new podcast. Let's talk about it. Going to be premiering this Monday on YouTube. He has been a longtime fan of this show for years, literally, and I'm really excited to have him on the Gaggle of Geeks show. Please welcome Jay Moore. How's it going, man?
How's everybody doing?
every sound off.
Yes.
The Nick Cage scream of approval.
I'll take it because it sounds awesome. Let's do it. Happy to be here, boys.
Oh, man. And also, we've got Brandon Ucio, who you can find on the Fandom Podcast and on a couple hashtags, but that doesn't mean that they're not amazing. You go check them out. Brandon, how's it going, man?
Good. Thanks for having me on here again.
This is awesome to have you guys on, but I think we all know that going into this show, it was going to be a little bit weird and off tone. So let's start first with just giving everybody a little just shot of cute. We've talked about it before.
Hey, there she is.
We talked about it before.
Welcome to the show, baby girl.
Yeah. How's it going?
She's
she
so
hates
cute.
This. The room is so hot, so she's been derping the whole time. Yeah, we don't need that right now.
Right.
All right, everyone, get a good look, because we're going to give you the biggest dose of happiness first. Look at it.
Are you giving her away?
Yeah, she wouldn't last. She wouldn't last.
I got a 2-year-old. If somebody wants him, you can definitely have him. I'm telling you.
All right,
I'll go back to sleep.
Let's let you go out of here.
I'm only kidding.
Oh, well, since there's an opening, I can supply a couple children if they're looking for it.
There you go. Not that we're auctioning off,
Pandemic parenting, I guess.
Honestly, I would offer, but also, no, thank you.
Smart man.
I can babysit. I can last a while, but overnight I have no idea what's going to happen.
If you want him to come home with conspiracy theories and how to hide money in the walls, then
you guys want to hear about the Ayer cut?
Yeah.
Or Space Force.
Or Space Force. Ooh, that's funny you mentioned that, Jay, because I started the first episode. How far along did you get into Space Force?
I finished it that day. It was amazing.
Whoa.
You liked it?
What?
I liked it.
Okay,
it was great.
I can't review this. You got to do it for me. What did you think of it?
I thought Steve Carell stuck to what he does best, and it was actually pretty good. Everyone who acted did very, very well. There was a lot. I'm trying not to spoil it for everybody, but I don't know. It's weird because I'm trying to think, how should I put this? He did an Office performance, but Space Force style, I think. As you get into the episodes, it gets deeper and deeper, and it shows so much more of his morale of where his character stands, I should say. It shows a very strong point, give and take what his character represents in the Army or Air Force. My son's doing something he's not supposed to be doing. So I'm sorry. He just literally doing. Hold on.
Jay's son right now.
Listen to
So I have a confession to make. I've never
Uh-oh.
watched The Office.
Confess yourself.
You've never watched The Office?
I've never watched. Well, okay, I take that back. I've tried a couple times. I've watched like 3 or 4 episodes, and I just can't get into The Office.
Are they all in the first season?
I started. A couple of them were in the first season, and then a couple of them were just randomly on at times. And it's like I don't get it. Like The Office just does not like. So Jay, if I'm not a fan of The Office, would I enjoy Space Force?
Yes and no, because there are some slow parts in it that just don't make any damn sense. But I say it's 50-50. If you haven't seen The Office, you don't have to see The Office to see this. I only reference The Office because he has that Michael Scott character feel to him every time you see him.
Tell us the reason why.
I don't think we're missing a crucial point of this that Brandon hasn't watched The Office. Like, all right.
Wait,
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
This is the second time. This is the second time in a row on this show that someone that's a guest has not seen The Office. Chaz, is that weird?
That's kind of weird.
It's
I think
a
The
weird,
Office is like
like-
a show everybody can relate to.
That's what she said.
Well,
Yeah.
And of course, you know these references, but you don't know these references. So
Right.
you probably find them so annoying. That's what she said. It's probably been like, I don't get it for a minute. And then it's just
yeah.
annoying after because there's no
You know what
context.
I think it might have to do with all of the pop culture jokes and things like that, because when The Office was on, I don't know why I didn't start watching it when it came out, but I started hearing all the jokes and everyone quoted it and everyone said, "Oh, this is the best show ever." And so then I went to turn it on, and I'm sorry, it's just not the best show ever. And I went in there with super high expectations. And so I think that might be why I'm like, I'll pass on this, because everybody else's deliveries of "that's what she said" jokes, and because let's be honest, at my age at the time, we were getting those jokes quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
I don't
I'm
know.
not
I
old or
don't know.
nothing like that, but I definitely get it.
Biased on this show. No judgment. I agree that the way that it's been hyped at this point, it's kind of one of those you can't really meet it if you're starting like season 1 and someone's talking about an entire series. Like if you start with the pilot episode, it's gonna sound and feel very dated, like a lot of the jokes. And they've gone on record to say a lot of jokes there's no way we could even do now. Which I think is kind of one of the reasons why it's becoming more topical, because of some of the jokes that like stand-up comics or like Dave Chappelle have like defended wanting to be able to tell jokes that are a certain way that aren't meant to be offensive, but at the same time like shed light on the stereotype of it, like Tropic Thunder, things like that. It's
Which was
great.
an awesome movie, might I add, because it was really hilarious.
Nice. Yep. Well, we don't have news this week. That was what I was thinking through this whole time, because like there's some movie news that happened, but nothing that's even worth talking about. So what I'm going to do with this first bit is talk a little bit about just where we can put our efforts in, and maybe even like have all of us just talk about how we're feeling this week if we want to, and just go from there, because it's a fucking weird time right now, and I want to punch every goddamn racist and Nazi in the face on Facebook, everywhere. And I don't know, the more that this week has gone on, the more I've just kind of been just personally exhausted, like exhausted by watching the continuous footage, exhausted seeing just like the helplessness of people, and acknowledging your own privilege. And even if you've been for the cause, like checking that and recognizing if you've had faults to correct them, and where to put those efforts. And I was thinking with that, and with today also, from what I've seen online, and of course with all of the hashtags, this is Breonna Taylor's birthday, a birthday that she now wasn't able to be here for. And there's so much privilege that comes with being a person that's white and person that's male, and specifically in Utah, in a lot of cases, where I can tell you there are situations where the police have been involved where if I wasn't white or male, it would have way worse. And yeah, it needs to stop, and we need to try to look at the issues and support where we can. So the first place I want to have everybody to go and support is the Beam organization, who's working to remove the barriers that Black people experience getting access or staying connected with emotional health and healthcare and healing. With COVID right now, I think we need to be able to try to support these protesters that are going out and putting themselves on the line, as well as risking themselves and their health in that sense. So please go and donate to that as well. The LDF organization, not LDS, LDF, has fought racial injustice through litigation, advocacy, public education for over 75 years, and it will tie into a movie review that we're going to have later on. These are both places where you can donate and help, and the place where you need to also go is to your local government and make yourself heard. So there's also a website that we're going to link where it's actually a really simple setup. You go and you find your state, and they have pre-made an email template that can be sent to all of your local officials, the mayor, people that need to hear what needs to change. And in each state, they've already detailed and outlined the policies that need to be enacted to help protect lives, to make neighborhoods safe again, to stop with this stupid overarching violence from police. There's so many things that people can do. So I wanted to just kick off with that, and then just ask everybody just what you guys are feeling through this week, and just talk about it a little bit. So whoever wants to go.
I guess I'll go ahead and
wow.
I'll go ahead and start
I was
it
gonna
out.
wow. This is the problem. This is the problem. I'm just kidding.
No, I have no problem with it. I mean, honestly, where I stand this week, it's been tough the last actually couple of weeks. Being in the position that I am in, it's like an everyday struggle. I constantly walk with a target on my back everywhere I go. And now it's to the point where I feel like this shit's getting out of hand. My son's only 2, and I got to tell him that he survived all this stuff. I mean, I was around in 92 when the world was going nuts. Granted, I was young, but I was there enough to go through it and see what my father had to go through. And now, as a father, as I am a father now, I now have to try to shelter my son from this. I don't want to, but he's not going to comprehend most of this stuff. He's not going to understand what's going on. He's only 2. But when he gets older, he's going to be like, Pop, is that how it was? You know, and I was like, that sometimes it'll be real. Sometimes it won't be. It depends on what they want to put in the history books going forward. I have to try to explain to him that no matter what happens, you have to constantly have that third eye on the back of your head, know your surroundings like you're Batman, and make sure you're not in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't want to do that because I don't feel that we should have to under the law. But as we all know, the law can not always be fair, if that makes any sense. I mean,
we're seeing it, man. It makes complete sense.
And I honestly live in a state of fear every time I walk out the door, which is why I only go to Target and the gas station and my grandmother's house. That's it. I go to the store and my grandma's house, and that's it. Because I know if I only go to 2 places, I have an alibi everywhere I'm going. I'm not doing anything sketchy. You know, I'm just I take care of my business and I come home. 1, because I don't have time to deal with ratchetness and bullshit at Walmart. I hate that place. And 2, because it keeps me in a position where I know I'm not going to endanger my son or my wife or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I play it safe. And even during this pandemic, I've been stuck in this house for God knows how long. I finally went golfing like a month ago. And even that was weird because there was only 2 groups on the entire course. We were lucky enough to get in. So, you know, it's scary. I'll be honest. For me, it's scary to have
I
to
hate that
go
you
through all
even have
this.
to think like I can't even possibly process the idea that you have walking out your door and just thinking every time that you are a target is a terrifying thing that is just all too common, and it
Well,
happens way too much.
it
And it's
it
something that
does.
I've never had to do that. I've never had to go outside and worry or be pulled over for a traffic ticket or a routine stop and feel fear for my life. That's just, I can never say that.
Right. Well, I mean, I didn't think I'd have to do that ever. You know what I mean? Like the first time I got called a nigga was when I was in the 8th grade. And me and my best friend and my brother, we were all walking to school and a bus passed by and that's all we heard for all 4 of us. That was the first time. That was back in 1998 when me personally, when I first got called that. And then the second time something like that happened when I graduated from high school. And that was back in 2004. Yeah, I know I'm making this seem really long and old, but you know, ever since high school, I was old enough to realize, okay, there's a lot of things going on in the world and I can't let that bother me because I have a foundation of friends that will look out for me, but they also need to understand where I'm coming from.
It's really interesting right now. Speaking about kids, so I'm a person of color, but my pigmentation is a little lighter, so I'm the model minority, right? Um, and I've planted my flag on social media and other places saying this is what the right thing is. This is how we're doing it. And I've had, because I have uh, uh, because I'm non-threatening to people, I've had several people reach out to me and ask, well, okay, who honestly, and this has been the only hopeful thing, is that they've reached out to me to say, okay, I get it now. I see what people are talking about. And these white people are saying, but I don't know how to teach this to my children. How do you teach your children about racism? And talking about what you said in your experience in 8th grade and experiences in my life, and then thinking about back to my kids, I responded, I can't tell you. I can't tell you how to respond, because I don't have to teach my children about racism, because the world gives it to them. They experience it. My oldest, when he was 4 years old, we were at a playground, and these kids kept telling him to go back to China. And first off, he was confused because he's 5th generation born in America, and we come from Japanese ancestry, so he was really confused. He's like, I'm not from China. But he was so hurt. And my other son, who just a couple months ago had some junior high kids, he's in 2nd grade, had some junior high kids calling him ching chong as a slur. And
Shame.
I don't have to teach them about racism, because it's going to come. What I have to teach them is not to let it define them. And when you're white, you may not think about it, but I've literally had people tell me that I'm teaching my children racism by planting my flag and standing firm with the Black Lives Matters movement, because children aren't born knowing racism, and that's true. But we teach them, and our children watch what we do, and so that's the thing right now. I think the most important thing for us is to teach our children the right things when they're little.
I totally agree with that. I mean, you're right. It starts with us. And my dad and my grandmother, between my dad and my grandma and my new stepmom, my mother-in-law, they kind of raised me after my mom had passed away, but they never taught me a word of hate in my body. My grandmother was born in 1936. So, she's seen all this stuff and she's raised every single one of us. So she practiced us not being angry at someone who is not Black. You know, she always said, God don't like ugly. So, and as far as I'm concerned, you're not ugly, because if you hate someone, that's ugly. You don't need to be like that. So ever since then, I always go around helping everybody. I don't care what you look like. You could be my worst enemy, which, thank the heavens, I don't have any. Maybe the government, but I mean, that's just the word. I don't have any remorse or hate or any type of regrets for anything that I've done, because the way I was raised was to always give everyone the respect they deserve, because they'll always give it back to you. Treat others how you want to be treated. So, yeah, I know, man. And, you know, it's just sad at the state of affairs of things that are going on. And when I look at the news, when I look at the looting that's going on, they're younger than Patrick. They're younger than
Okay,
me.
hold on. Why are we going to mine? I'm not the youngest one here.
Oh, Chaz, my
I'm
bad.
the shortest one here. There's a difference.
That's probably fair. Well,
No.
you know what I mean. You know, they're younger than us, and they haven't even graduated high school yet, and yet they're breaking windows and going into Targets, and then following suit is my generation going in there, an older generation going in there and taking stuff. What's the point? That is not the way. There's so many more different ways of handling the situation at hand when you're angry. But flipping over police cars and breaking glass to get merchandise that you didn't work hard to earn aggravates me. And I feel as it makes us look bad as Black people. I'm just going to come out and say it. It makes us look bad, because you're not acting like a Black person with sophisticated class or who uses their head. You're acting like what they want to say. Nick,
It's so important that it's
that's
differentiated between Black Lives Matter and the people that are doing this stuff, because usually I don't think that it at all takes away from these protests that have been mostly peaceful everywhere. And all we've seen to nonviolent peaceful protests are violence from police officers, and it's been all across the color spectrum. Like, we just saw an old white man bleeding out of his ear because he was
out of his ear. Yeah, that is insane.
Journalists even are just like getting straight up like meleeed Call of Duty style,
Right.
like it's from a video game. A lot of this feels like a crazy dystopian video game, and there's just like to I don't want to see any type of like lumping in between like a looter and someone that's actually going and protesting, and the people that are doing it. You're right, Jay, are totally taking advantage of something that we're trying to push for, and that is right, and in taking it for themselves in a different way. And I can't say I cannot put myself in that situation, so I really don't know with that. But all I know is that at this point, yeah.
I do think it is important, though, to realize that while we can't condone the looting and the riots because it's not right, we also need to understand where that is coming from.
And that was what I was saying. I don't think I ever will, which is why I don't feel like I can really condemn that harshly.
Right. And so you can understand that there is something there, though, that you may never understand exactly what it is, but you can understand that there's something there. And this is where I think, you know, we talked before the show about how it's kind of hard to talk about pop culture type things when there's so many serious issues. However, I think this is where pop culture does tie into it. This is a lot of the morals that I've learned. I learned them from my parents. I have good parents who taught me good things. But a lot of my morals have also come from the pop culture that I have consumed. Star Trek taught me that It doesn't matter if you're black, brown, blue, green, yellow, orange, an android. A person's a person, and you treat them accordingly. I was thinking a lot about the book Ender's Game, which is from a problematic creator.
Yep.
But that book shaped my life when I was young. And I realized that my way of dealing with conflict is I try to understand the other viewpoint. And it's hard because, especially in times like this, my heart hurts for the people who are hurting, but then to also understand the other side, my heart hurts for both sides, because there are people who feel what things and have been taught things, but pop culture is literally what has made me the person that I am today. And I think that if we were actually to take note of the lessons that are being taught, Star Wars is all about hope and redemption. Star Trek is about equality. And we could go on and on. I think pop culture really, it does matter. It does matter. And while it might seem light and frivolous to talk about it, making art imitates life, art inspires life. And that's what we talk about and
Absolutely.
what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah,
Man.
Yeah,
I
Chaz,
think
go ahead.
this whole year has just been nonstop 2020, and I don't think any of us knew this was going to be like this bad, right? But I think in these opportunities, there are times for us as like a human consciousness to like kind of like reflect on our behaviors, and then like what Brendan was saying was there's going to be pop culture coming out of this down the line. And that gets me, like, that alone gives me hope, knowing that there's going to be better messages past this time.
Not only that, but how is the only way that we're able to even know what's happening right now? It's through the use of media. Yep. And through video and through showing and showing the truth about stuff. And that's really, like, Brandon, you gave a great segue into this. Before I just want to wrap up with this last bit. Black Lives Matter. I'm tired of hearing this all lives matter stuff. You know what we're trying to say. You know what we're just trying to say they matter. That's it. And to hear people going against that even is crazy. George Floyd,
it
Taylor.
reminds, and I'll help you finish this out too. It reminds me of the, believe it or not, South Park episode where everyone was, at the end, they walk up to Token, and it's like, Token, I don't get it. You know what I mean? And then Token's like, all right, man, cool. You know what I mean? Like, for him to have to go through all the experiences that he went through in that specific episode, what they tackled there, I think they did a really good job. And if I can find the episode, I'll plug it in the comments below, because it was actually really good.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, hey, with that said, let's segue into the main topic, the main thing for today, which is going to be a review, because we were all thinking about stuff to do, and Jay gave a great idea for us, because I had seen this on the news, but I didn't put two and two together. I don't know why, but that we should watch this film, Just Mercy, that came out last year, and it was one of those that was snubbed for being an Oscar contender. Like, a lot of people were talking about Jamie Foxx's performance and how powerful it was. And now, with the horribleness that's happening right now and the need for needing to at least educate people, to put them into that space where you can empathize with something that's outside of your world, which is what movies do at their best. Like, they're empathy generating machines. This is one that all the studios thought would be good enough to release out for free for everybody. So we all had a chance to talk about, to watch it. And I want to start, I guess, with what did you guys think, first of all, with like the film in general, and then we'll kind of go one-on-one to talk about the different aspects. But we'll start with Chaz. What do you think?
I cried 3 times. It was like the middle, or the beginning, the middle, and the end. Like, I cried in all 3 arcs of the movie, and I thought it was very well done. I understand why people were frustrated that it got, because from watching it now, like, I kind of get like where it might have been snubbed, because I didn't catch this in theaters. I watched it for free while it's streaming everywhere. No, I thought it was very well done though, and I thought it was very powerful. And Jamie Foxx giving one hell of a performance, and then Michael B. Jordan giving one hell of a performance and tying it together. Like it's crazy how relevant that feels, even though that film takes place in the late 80s, early 90s. So
yes, it's in 1989. This is for Harvard Law graduate Brian Stevenson, who's played by Michael B. Jordan. He travels to Alabama after getting a degree with Harvard, hoping to help fight for the poor people that can't afford proper legal representation. Teaming with someone he founds an equal justice initiative, and one of the death row inmates that he's working with, Walter Johnny D. McMillan, is played by Jamie Foxx. And this is the big overarching story of this, is Michael B. Jordan seeing the systemic racism that was inside of this case, and being able to, I guess, look at this small town and be able to give justice, as he says, to the people that are there. I thought it was so moving. And Chaz, I agree with you. Like, each act has something in there that honestly, it made me nauseous. Like, I felt sick in a lot of points, and it's supposed to make you feel that. Like, a lot of people don't watch some of these movies because they're like, I don't like feeling that way. That's the point of the film, to make you understand and empathize. And this movie did such a good job of that. And Michael B. Jordan was a powerhouse. Jamie Foxx was super. He was really nuanced in his performance. Like, it was very subtle, and it was so good. And yeah, what did you think about it, Jay?
Like Chaz, but a little bit more. I started crying from the very beginning because I've seen it. This movie is reminds me so much of what really went on, and even to this day is still going on. I cried all the way through from beginning to end. My wife came out and she looked at me and she asked me if I was all right, because she thought I was like having a panic attack or something. And I was like, no, I was sitting here folding these clothes and watching this movie at the same time. And I'm just like, wow, and it's not just Jamie Foxx and Michael B. Jordan. We're also forgetting about Brie Larson's character in this as well, because she did a very, very good job in the supporting role of this movie. And actually, quick correction, this movie actually came out in January. We were actually supposed to do a review on this movie back in January.
Hold on there, because I see it theatrically released December 25th.
It did not happen. It happened on January 19th, I believe.
Wikipedia.
Was it a wide
Son of
release
a
issue?
bitch.
It was out. It was in the theaters. My mother-in-law got a chance to see it. I did not get a chance to see it because at that time I was actually truck driving, so I was never home. It's the movie was very inspirational and very powerful. It reminds me of a movie that came out last year called Brian Banks with Aldous Hodges. I actually cried during that movie. He was a convicted felon that was supposed to he's supposed to register as a sex offender because they said that he raped a girl because the girl said he raped her, but he didn't rape her at all. And he's been having to try to find jobs. He can't go anywhere close to parks. He can't do any of the things that normal people can do because of his limitations. And what I see in this movie with Jamie Foxx and Michael B. Jordan and Brie Larson and the rest of the cast is that they broke those limitations just by helping the inmates that they helped. I mean, if you guys paid attention at the end of the movie, the character played by Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson Jr., he didn't get out until 2015 or 17, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. That's a whole 30 years later that he was supposed to have been gone, and he was on death row. Mm-hmm. And 30 years, that's a long, long time. But as I said earlier, they broke that barrier, and it was so overwhelming. Like even now, I kind of want to tear up about it because it's hard to see, all this stuff that's going on. And then you have this one movie to put it into perspective for you that there can be a change as long as you're willing to put in the work to help that change move forward. You know what I mean? And, it's that's all I have to say about that. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep myself.
No worries. Brandon, what did you think?
This movie was exhausting. Watching it just kept getting worse, and it just kept getting worse, and things kept happening, and it was just exhausting to watch. And I think that was on purpose. Because, like you said, some people don't like to feel that way. But if it's exhausting for 2 hours, imagine years, imagine lifetimes. And it gives a little bit more of a perspective onto how that happened. And it was very moving. It was very easy to see the injustices, and that's, I think that's kind of why we're where we are at right now, is because something came out that was just impossible to defend. And this was another one of those cases where it was just impossible to defend somebody there. But the way the system works, that movie took place over the course of, I want to say it was 5-ish years. I can't remember the exact dates, but it took about 5 years for Michael B. Jordan's character to come in and pick up the case and then have all charges dropped.
I believe it was 1988 to 1993.
Yeah. So that time period was compressed down to a couple hours, and it was exhausting. Imagine if you lived it for even just those 5 years.
And like I don't know. I'm gonna spoil some of this and say some of the parts because just holy shit, some of the fucked up moments are just. First one that I was thinking of was just the fact that they had put him on death row before he had a trial date set for all of this. That's insane. That still happens. Like most of this stuff came from true accounts. Like this is based off of true events. And damn, one of the great things that they do point out though with this is not only that you can finding justice for one person is something, but you have to change the system. You have to change the way that they do these things and fight for that. And with that last little bit, I thought it was the perfect ending to this because it was the perfect way to wrap up that the fight wasn't over for either of them, and that their relationship had still grown so much. And by the way, their chemistry is off the charts. Jamie Foxx and Michael B. Jordan are great together in this. And Brie Larson also was great with them too.
They definitely played off of themselves very well. There is one thing I do want to say. There is Dr. Cornel West. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him. He did say, and I might be off this quote a little bit, but he said, "You can't help the people if you don't serve the people." I believe it goes like that. And in this instance, in this movie, I see a lot of that happening. You know what I mean? I see a lot of someone trying to help someone and not giving up. Like he said, you went all the way out there to go see my family. That mean a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it shows that, even as defense lawyers and stuff like that, they really do take an interest in trying to get to know who they're representing, because not only does it show what good character they have, but it shows, the type of person he really is and how dedicated to his work he is, so.
Well, and Brie Larson's character made a comment about that, about how he truly loves his clients, and that makes it so much easier for him to fight for them. And that makes a big deal. And we talked about it a little earlier. Brie Larson's portrayal of that character was just so good.
Very good.
The scene with the bomb threat in the house, That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something where I don't know what I would do, but Brie Larson's character, she took a stand and she stayed there. And, because at that point, it's not just me and my choices and what I'm doing. It's my child. It's my spouse. It's, how would I handle that? And it was pretty inspiring to see that. And to, I did a little bit of, after the movie, I was like, okay, I need to go see what was fictionalized, what was dramatized, and what wasn't. And that was not dramatized at all. That was not making a point. That happened on multiple occasions. If anything, they cut out a lot from her experience because it wasn't about her.
That's crazy.
Yeah. This movie was, in my opinion, probably one of the best movies I've seen all year, and I just got them watching Scoob, and that was great. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? And then after watching Scoob, I go and I watch this, and
wow, you should have done that the opposite way.
I
ask who didn't sleep a little after? How late did you guys watch this?
I watched it today.
Today? Oh, okay. Because we watched it like right before we went to bed, and I was like, oh.
I watched it yesterday as I was folding the clothes in the morning.
Yeah, so I'm the one that ruined that one. Cool.
I think the scene that got to me the most, stood out the most, was the execution scene.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was really haunting.
Man.
But I was thinking about that when I was watching that scene, because a part of me was, because anytime it was going through those moments, and that's one of those scenes in each act that's very specifically like very uncomfortable. But I always have this fear that it's going to be uncomfortable and distasteful at the same time. That we're going to have some weird impression of an electroshock, and that they're going to do like some weird thing like that. But they did it in such a profoundly, I guess, hopeful yet destructing. Like it just ruins you to see like how
that portrayed too for that scene, that in particular character. I thought he did a really good job displaying
Rob Morgan is the guy who played
Ralph Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he did a really great job in portraying PTSD, from being in the war and stuff like that. I have a few family members who served in Vietnam, who and served during that time period, who have had that type of speech impediment or feeling all the time to do certain things. They had family to help, as this man did not. So I think that the character, would you say his name was again?
The character's name is Herbert Richardson, and it was played by Rob Morgan.
Rob Morgan. I thought he did a very great job until he got the chair. I hate to say
it was
like
that callback. It was the part in that scene that I thought made it much less like a scene to just glorify something, was when they did the callback to the breathing at that point in the end. Yep. Where he looks up through the vents, he hears the clanging, he remembers he's got people and that he can take that breath. That's where it was just such a sad hope, like a sad, like at least maybe he died with some semblance of knowing that he wasn't alone. And so many people don't get that.
Well, and like watching, like because with that scene, I thought they were going to cut away before they executed him. And I was wondering if they weren't going to pull away, then like exactly how are they going to, allow that? And I think that, like what you were saying, Patrick, the way they did that is they kind of like, you hear the zap, but it's on the glass with where you can see everybody watching, and you see Michael B. Jordan's character like kind of cringe, and like it was like at that moment, it's like when his character got sparked, like he's like, nope, there needs to be change, like I need to save,
Right.
And Brie Larson, when he gets back into the car afterward and they're just sitting there, it's just, there's so many powerful moments in here. And there's another character that was in this that was I think very good as well, with Tim Blake Nelson, who always is showing up as a supporting character, and just always kills it. And I don't know what is it about his face that makes him so racist looking. Where they're gonna put him in, you know what I mean? No, okay. Him and Stephen Merchant every once in a while get filtered in to be like the dad that's super homophobic or the very racist person.
You know, this movie also brings back a movie I believe, from 1995, A Time to Kill, with Samuel Jackson, Kevin Spacey, Matthew McConaughey, Sandra Bullock. It was an all-star cast. Keith and David Sutherland were also in that movie. There was a lot of racial injustice there. That's where the saying, yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell, came from. It was a very, very similar feeling watching this movie, because even though I'm only 33, I turned 34 this year. I watched that movie, and
you call that old? What are you talking about?
I instantly, without a shadow of a doubt, kind of said, all right, from this point on, this is like my go-to movie. You know, Samuel Jackson's my favorite actor of all time. Sorry, Denzel. Sorry, Will Smith. It's Samuel Jackson. Because of not just because he uses the word motherfucker in every movie that he has, but because of the way he carries himself in his roles. I can relate to it. You know, it's just so great. And this movie has so many similarities. If you haven't seen A Time to Kill, I'm giving you the J recommendation to watch that movie.
Ooh, is this going to be part of your show, the J recommendation?
Yes, that is going to be the last part of before I end it. That's going to be part of my podcast.
That's dope.
You heard it here first, folks.
Y'all just got a sneak fucking peek of that. That's awesome.
Ooh, that got me wet.
Can I just tell you that?
All right, there.
Oh man,
Chaz, there are children listening. Continue.
So this film, the storytelling in it is amazing because it's based on a true story, and most everything they had on there was true. But this film, going back to the execution scene, and the way they tied that into the very end of the film, and the cups clanging in protest, or not protest in one instance, but the cups and the similarities of being walked down that hallway out of death row. It just was I felt like it was a very moving way to tie in those two. And I was constantly impressed with the way that they told the story, having to follow the actual historical, because they pretty much did. They based it off the memoirs of the lawyer, but then they followed it along pretty well, and even to the fact of using the racist guard and showing his journey. That one was kind of made up.
Okay, because let me say, I hate those characters. I'm just gonna say it. I just think it's a weird gimme to like make all the actual racist people try to watch and pay attention. But, like, if you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit. And what he did in the beginning of that movie, I was like, all right, kill him. Just kill him. He's out. I hope a bus hits him. I hope something bad happens that has nothing to do with the story. And I can say, good. He's gone.
Right, because even by law...
Or that lawyer, too.
He made a really great point. By law, the attorney is not subsidized to a strip search.
Yeah, no, I'm not defending that in any way.
That was just hard. That was hard to watch. You could tell
that was the first one where I was like, "Oh shit!" Yep.
Yeah. So that guy never changed. That was something that was added to the film. That guy never changed like that. The memoir did tell about a guard who got better over time, but it was because he was a foster kid and he heard. I can't remember which of the other clients was a foster kid, and they overheard them talking about how hard it was being a foster kid, and they kind of bonded over that, and he stopped being quite as racist after that, which I don't know if it was racist period or racist towards that one person. It was. And so that was one of those times where they condensed the story in a way that was inauthentic, but the way that they told the story, and they just made it so uncomfortable in that execution scene. That really, I didn't enjoy it, but I was very impressed by it.
I remember hearing from a critic a while back during, I think, when Creed 2 came out. They had, it wasn't a complaint, it was just an observation. And I couldn't help but notice at least the director taking advantage of this part of Michael B. Jordan, but he's a very reactive actor. Like, he's very facial with his responses, and you are usually seeing his reaction to the stuff happening, much like the execution scene, than what you're seeing actually unfolding. And I think him being able to emote that way is part of why Michael B. Jordan is such a powerhouse performance and like is wanted in everything.
I agree. I totally agree with that. It's like Fruitville Station.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was great.
That's one I haven't seen yet, but I know that's on Netflix.
That's a good one.
It was also directed by Ryan Coogler, who also did Black Panther. So they kind of know each other and they kind of work well with each other. So
Very cool.
it was really, really great to see that performance from Michael B. Jordan.
Well, that's what we think about unless there's anything else for this, any other parts of the movie, because
I don't want to cry anymore. Like, I cried so much during this movie, and my wife is going to watch it tonight, so
yeah.
Give her a glass of wine.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hey, everybody, please go and check this out, because first of all, it's free. And what else are you doing right now? COVID cases are going up. Stay in your goddamn house, and if not, learn something.
Yeah, the movie is supposed to be free till the end of June, I was told, or I read.
For 30 days. Yeah. And they're doing the same with Selma as well. I forgot, Chaz. Or you guys mentioned that.
Yeah, Selma. I'll definitely get that because I haven't seen that yet.
Mm-hmm.
You would think I would have watched that movie. I was driving.
That's not what we would have thought at all, Jay.
Hey man, I was out there in Salt Lake City when that movie came out. I was driving back and forth, so I couldn't watch the movie even if I wanted to. So
I think they both are good, and they tell like varying degrees of like, here's what it's like then, and here's where it's like now. They're very good as a little combo pack,
right? And
then you can be like, oh shit, nothing changed. Oh no. Definitely go and check both those out, guys. And let's close out with viewer question, which is from me, because I didn't even put out a thing to do viewer questions. So I figured this would be a good closer outer to talk about movies that maybe let us learn something, but also are feel-good movies. Because, everybody needs to recharge at the end of the day. And you can't, we're going to be watching and continue to learn with watching these uncomfortable things that make you understand real life situations and stompings on civil liberties. But there's also like those days where you need to go to the thing that you love most. And why I love this show is because that's what we're all here for. We're a gaggle of geeks that just love weird shit, and the things that we love very hard. And I want to hear from you guys. And I guess I'll start first with some of the movies that I go to when it's always crazy. And I think the weird thing that I love is about Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is my pick, is that I always watch it when I'm sick. I always watch it when like it's just like a rainy day, because it's always you can escape from wherever you're at for it. Like, I know Ferris Bueller is faking sick the whole time, and I'm just like throwing up like, oh, he's out partying, yes. But it still, for some reason, makes me feel good. And just hearing Twistons shout and the cool, awesome parade that happens, the fantastic characters, and just all the jokes. Like, John Hughes is one of those writers and directors that know how to tell a good story, and that's one of the films for me. But I'll pass it off to you, Brandon. What's one of the films that you love?
Oh, that's hard because there's so many of them. I've been racking. As soon as you said this, I was like, "Oh, which one am I going to choose?"
I didn't prepare anybody for this, and I'm not sorry. I don't know why I'm not sorry. I don't know.
Okay, if I'm gonna pick one, then I'm probably going to go with. Oh, this is hard. This is really hard.
You don't have to pick one, man. Give me all kinds of ones.
No judgments.
Here's the thing:
yeah.
we don't need just one. Like, you think one is gonna
I only have one.
quench our thirst of like being sad all the time with all this shit? And like, we need rejuvenation. So hit us with everything, man. What are you watching now that makes you feel good?
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is one of the ones that just I watch, and I love it because of the art style. I love it because it's a fun story. I love it because of the characters. It's a great one.
It has a great soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah, it has an
What's up,
amazing
Danger?
soundtrack.
Let's see. So when it comes to like Marvel films, I will turn on Doctor Strange all day long. And that's because it's completely kind of standalone. I don't have to think about how this ties into the rest of the Marvel universe. It's just kind of there.
Mm-hmm. It's hands off, you would say? Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Was that messed up? That was messed up.
No, the hands, those were what were messed up. I don't know. See, I just love so many movies. Like, I am on record on my podcast on saying that Battleship is a good movie.
Ooh.
And
wow. Hold on. I've got a specific one for this. Hold on.
I enjoyed that movie
really fucking hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not one of those movies that's going to go to any awards, but
Razzies. It could maybe get a Razzie.
Dang.
But it's a movie that it does exactly what I mean. You're going to see a movie based on a board game with plastic pegs. I mean, you know what you're getting.
Clue.
There's another one. But no, you see,
Who said Clue sucks? I wasn't looking. It was definitely Chaz.
No.
Oh, God.
I think we can find anything that something good about any movie that you turn on. I've yet to walk. No, there was one when I was a kid that I walked out of the theater that I was like, this sucks. And I think it was like The Nutty Professor. But no, there was.
I would have said Norbit personally, but
I may not have seen that one. But no, I can just flip on a movie and just enjoy it. There's something there. You can find something good about any movie out there.
Well, Chaz, you've been watching Denis Villeneuve movies, which we all know are the beacons of positive thinking and fun. You'll feel good after you watch them movies. That Prisoners. Boy.
Oh, man.
What else are you watching? Film. What are you watching to let you be able to watch those and not walk into a dark closet and shut the door for a year?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. So I usually resort to comedy when I'm feeling kind of down and in the dumps, right? Judd Apatow is one of my favorite directors, and I'm very much looking forward to The King of Staten Island with Pete Davidson. I think that looks fun. I think it's a movie that I probably need, at least during this whole quarantine and everything. But a lot of the movies I also resort to is actually sci-fi. So like the fact you brought up Denis Villeneuve, Arrival is on my list I watch because it has such a positive message to that. And Interstellar has like such a cool message to that, you know.
You had to bring Interstellar.
I know. I'm telling, like, dude, and like those movies also, like watching those in the theater, like brought me so much joy that watching them at home brings me so much joy. And so it's either comedy or it's sci-fi, like Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars, you know, like when you realize all the arcs and like all the fun music, like it's, I don't know. I'm a sucker for anything. And like what Brendan was saying, yeah, all movies are good. Like you can find you could find good in all movies. And it took me a while to realize that because like in college they teach you to deconstruct the movie and totally hate it. So it was hard to enjoy things for a bit, but I think I found my footing.
Other type of movie that I like, I'm not sure if this is a genre or if it's like just a story trope, but I love that it all happened in one night movies. Those always, for some reason, make me feel good.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It could be like The Purge. No, I'm just kidding. It's not The Purge.
Oh, man.
I was going to say like Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, but I mean,
it's the one time I get to use sound effects right now, so I'm just like, maybe try one and open it. But I love Happen to One Night shows. And Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, you can talk shit about it all you want. And it's fair. You can lob whatever. But I enjoyed that one. I like the Before trilogy because I'm a sap when it comes to romantic stuff.
I'm a sap too.
What else is good that's kind of those in one night things?
Wasn't there Steve Carell and what's
Date
her
Night
face? Date
or
Night.
Lovebirds that just recently is out. That's a
Yeah.
It All Happened in One Night story with great chemistry between the two leads.
I think for me, I mean, unless Chaz is done.
I'm done.
For
done?
me, my go-to movie, because I still watch cartoons even till this day, and I never want to forget who I am, which is why I still watch Hanna-Barbera or stuff like that. But my go-to movie is Ready Player One and Wreck-It Ralph.
Nice.
I say Ready Player One because you're never gonna see that many characters all together in one movie and not get nerded out with Batman climbing Mount Everest. And my feel-good movie will always be The Incredibles or Wreck-It Ralph. The first Incredibles and Wreck-It Ralph, because the message that it sends. Especially at the end. I am bad and that is good. You know what I mean? Like there's a meaning to that where it hits you like he's doing the right thing even though he's a bad guy. It shows that even bad guys have a heart and they're still pretty much human. And that's how you have to look at it. And those are my two feel-good movies. If I had any other recommendations, if you really want to get hood with it, we can go with, 2019 Shaft, or you know what I mean, or
hey, I watched White
even
Man Can't Jump, and I love that shit. I watch that every year.
Right, and at least once a month, I watch the first Matrix. I also watch the first Red, which is really good.
Red's underrated.
It is
underrated.
Underrated.
I'm looking at all the movies that I have on my digital download right now.
Oh,
so,
nice.
I got Remember the Titans.
Yeah, that's
on
a
here.
little cheating.
Well, being is that we got sidetracked. I pulled
could have
this
just
out
been
immediately.
searching all of this. I had no idea.
No, I also like the first Star Trek with J.J. Abrams.
That is a really good feel-good
Dude, Chris
movie.
Pine was such a good Kirk.
Right.
And it was Chris Hemsworth right when he was like, no one knew him, but he was like, but he's
this
hot.
was before.
Like, even me. I was like, but wow.
Wasn't this before Thor, the first Star Trek?
Yeah.
Was that before
it came
the first
out
Thor?
before. Yep.
Right. So it came out way before then. So
they're like Papa Kirk, and then they see Chris Pine. They're like Papa Kirk the Jr.
Right. But yeah, those are my pretty much feel good movies. Everything else is an animated movie from the DC universe. The death of Superman or something like that, or the fall
Mask
of
of
the Superman,
Phantasm.
or Mask of the Phantasm's good, but I still like Batman Under the Red Hood.
That's a great one too.
It'll still always be the number one DC animated movie to me of all time. And
that can be a good because maybe we should have like ranking segments where we can like battle out rankings of what we think of certain stuff. So like DC animated is kind of a treasure trove of tons of great animated stuff. Like you mentioned Under the Red Hood, I'm thinking The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2, Mask of the Phantasm, obviously, even The Return of the Joker with Batman Beyond was really
Return
cool
of the Joker
anime. There's some weird cool stuff in there. That's interesting. That's a cool idea.
Is the Killing Joke good?
It's good when it wants to actually talk about the Killing Joke and doesn't want to just do its own side quest where Batman bangs Batgirl.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
That's all I'm going to say. I don't know.
So, yeah, it was 50-50 for me, Chaz, to be honest.
I saw that in theaters. I was so disappointed. I was like, why is Batman doing that? Isn't that his daughter-ish? I don't
sidekick. You don't.
I listened to Mark Hamill kind of hedge when he was asked about that before it to come out, and I still haven't seen it because I was like, oh, if Mark Hamill's
seriously just skip the first half hour, and then it feels like it stops and just starts the next movie.
Right? How do you tell Jim Gordon? Short. How do you tell Jim Gordon you banged his daughter though? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, he didn't. Which was even more fucked up.
It would just
Batman
be weird.
Is horrible in this.
Like,
oh man, this
Batman
kid
fuck your daughter.
Dude, this kid is driving me crazy. Where do you get barbecue sauce from? Like,
oh my god,
he drops it.
He is so cute though. Get out of here, Chaz. Go back to Jay. Talk, Jay. You got it.
Special appearance. just sits there on the ottoman that he just broke and throws barbecue sauce
just
off, which
Hulk
I don't know
smashed
where he
that?
got it
Damn.
from.
Nice.
Yeah,
But it's the right kind of barbecue sauce. It looks like Sweet Baby Ray's.
There
you
you
are
go.
absolutely correct. It was
Ooh.
Sweet Baby Ray's original.
Very cool. Very cool for barbecue sauce.
Right.
Well, I think those are our recommendations, and I think I'll close out today because, yeah, I'm so happy that I got to have all of you guys on to be able to talk about the things that
Yeah.
are important and also have fun, because I hope that you guys had a little bit of fun with this as well. Not in the way that probably someone that does All Lives Matter will interpret. You
know,
mean
every
fun because
time
you
I-
like...
Every time I come on your show, I feel happy, and it's one of the highlights of my week whenever I get a chance to sit down and talk with Chaz. And now I just met Brandon for the first time, and hopefully many more conversations in the future. It's just opening doors and teaching me new things. So thanks for allowing me to be on your show.
Sure, man.
It's great. And also, everyone out there, make sure you guys go to Patrick Beatty.
No. I'm going to put on Nick Cage. No. That's what I was going to do for you, sir. You guys got to check out his new podcast. Premieres on Monday on YouTube. Let's talk about it. He's giving you a taste of his recommendations, but you've got to go and check him out to see the rest of it. Also,
real quick though, Jay, do you have a YouTube thing for that, like your YouTube channel?
Yes, I do. I have to change the name on it though, but it'll probably be on my main channel starting out, and then I'll move it to my second channel.
Very cool. Yep. And with Chaz, we've got Over and Under Artists Exposed. Just had a new episode that came out. And my episode will be next week. I don't know why I keep plugging it for mine. I think I'm excited for it still. I just want to see how uncomfortable he gets when I start talking about all my past childhood traumas and stuff. It's like, oh no. I asked him as a joke to come on, and it's gotten real.
No, dude, it's like 2 hours long. I'm not going to cut any of it, so it's going to be good.
I
should probably start exporting that like on fucking Tuesday, just to make sure it's done.
Nice. And of course, on the Fandom Podcast, you can check him out. Thank you again, Brandon, for coming on. Where can the people find you as well?
You can find all my stuff over at fandompodcast.com.
I love you guys.
Yeah,
Is that weird to say? I must say it. Thank you guys so much, as always, for watching, and we will see you at the next review.